Okay, so that so what to say. Okay, YouTube works. Thing seems to work. Which works. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Should be like audio. On the other side, is this working? It is okay. Audio, plus music, just in the background. Anyone's interested in. Let's go in. Okay. Okay, so yesterday we had a stream. Didn't record to YouTube. This time I verified YouTube, should be okay. What we were talking about yesterday. Yesterday, I mentioned how programming with AI, I believe, is like a staircase where you start with the non-believers and avoiders, and you go through the AI assisted, which means you're using AI, but at first place you don't actually let it see the code at all. You're just using the chat on the side, and then the second step you're actually using it in the IDE, but still you're not basically letting it code for you. You're just asking it for things and you're reviewing exactly what it did. I'm not saying any step is bad or anything. I'm just saying this is a progression. This is how I saw my journey. And some of this was because the models were not good. And a lot of this, I think, is like human trust, especially developers that see it as their job and consider themselves as like professional, and there has to be a professional quality. Should actually do that full camera because I don't even have the I deleted to join. But so let's do it again. Let's see if I can do all the small things. It's more visible when it's full screen. Just small things. So yesterday I was saying that coding with AI is on a progression curve. We start with the non-believers that say, AI cannot code. It's bullshit. It cannot do the work. It makes all the mistakes and they're not tolerable. It doesn't understand. It's basically just a autocomplete machine and there's nothing useful in it. And then you come with the first AI assisted coding, which you can say at the first phase you might be using it only as a better search engine instead of using Google, which Google today actually gives you AI answers. But instead of going to Google or to Stack Overflow, you're searching in AI and getting the answers. What's interesting there is besides getting generic answers that you can start getting functions. And when you start getting functions, you start to ask for things that are more specific to your problem case. So you're starting to get the value out by asking on your specific situation, and maybe you even start putting in names that you care about, and you start getting that out. That's where I started. As in a professional environment, I didn't want to use it against the company policy or whatever. I didn't want to give AI proprietary information. So that's a way that you can start out and with no risk basically, because you're not exposing any proprietary code, any business, anything basically, and you can do it on the side even if your company doesn't have a specific policy. And the second phase after that, you start getting converted and saying, okay, let's work with this on the IDE. It can actually read my code and provide answers from my code or that are related to my code. It can find things, it can document things, it can review. And it can start bringing me answers that are specific to the code. Maybe even create functions to say which lines to update, but I'm still reviewing it line by line. That's why I call AI assistant. You're using it as an assistant, like a lab assistant or like a junior developer that's just onboarding. You might give them some not too important tasks that are very limited with specific instructions, but you don't trust their answers and you're going to review one by one anything that they're producing. You're going to basically code review line by line. Each function and each line is important for you. And then I think you start graduating into what people call vibe coding, which is give the AI full reign on a section at least. You're like, okay, do this function or functionality or subsystem. Some people start out with making small tools on the side. I need a script to make our workflow shorter, do commits, verify and upload, or anything really. Some people have, I don't know, files to process. I've seen people do scripts for like timesheets. Or you're just thinking, wouldn't it be cool if this would be a thing? And you're wondering if that could be produced. Because it's a small thing, you're like, okay, AI can do it, and either it works or it doesn't. It doesn't risk my data, it doesn't risk my performance. It's not going to be a virus. I don't care. It's not on a server. It's not going to cost me anything. So you're giving that a try, and you're starting to see that AI can produce things without you reviewing it, and you don't have to be super specific with it. That's where I think you kind of get converted into the vibe coding idea, at least, that you can let AI start doing bigger and bigger things. And I think then you start graduating across what size of tasks are you trusting AI to do. Because you start with a side tool or a function, and then you start off to do something like a flow that's a bit bigger. Then you start to get into bigger and bigger code sections. And then at some point, you get to the point where you give them a full business flow, business logic, basically a full story that's very, what do they call, business requirements. Start giving them a full business requirement, a full story to implement across the code without thinking about this exactly, which file this is. Basically, you're graduating the junior to, what's the name after the junior? From junior to associate, where you're like, oh, I got something from my manager, I got something from the org. It's not big if it fails on my reputation or anything. It's like just go and do it. I trust you enough. Basically, you're thinking it's not important enough if it fails. So you're like, I trust you enough, go and do it. And when you get it back, you're not going to review everything they did. You're going to ask them a couple of questions about, like, did you do this thing? Have you considered this case? What happens if? So you're starting to interrogate them a bit more like an interview than actually reviewing their work. And that's a big step. And I think this is where most developers that have adopted AI are in right now, vibe coding. And I got into it because I mentioned I'm using BMAT and I wanted to talk about spec-driven development a bit. I'm actually seeing a lot of people that have adopted AI and start to graduate didn't really hear about the spec-driven systems and didn't try them, and they're basically building parts of them or the entirety in their own workflow. So they start having document files for AI to define the project, define the task, go through what they did and create a log out of it, start providing them with a project management system. And when they provide that project management system, I'm like, should have used the spec, should have used a spec system, should have used the spec framework. That's exactly what spec-driven does. Basically, how I see spec-driven development, it's you have the first phase which goes over your project and tries to describe it in a useful way for AI. Who is your user? What is your product? What is the unique thing about your product? Where are you going with your product? And what are important things for you in the product? So some of it is about communication. What's your communication style? Is it serious? Is it funny? Do you have some specific style of wording you'd like the product to present? Do you have a specific look, UI wise, colors, fonts, visuals you want to communicate? And then there's the technical side, which I think is maybe not the most necessary at some point because it's very visual. Like, if you come to a new project and you look at it for like 10 seconds, you can tell which programming language is used, which tools are used. Usually you can read like one file. You find the package file or you find the CI file and you start getting a big idea about what technologies does it use, what hosting does it use, etc., etc. You start getting the whole tool list visible in like one or two files. Maybe I'm saying that because I come from DevOps and I'm used to seeing a lot of systems, and it's very easy for me to pick up what are the basic big building blocks you're using and caring about. But for me, I kind of feel this is maybe kind of redundant or not as needed as the others. I don't know. I'm kind of new to the spec development still. I only use it for about a week, but I already see the benefits. And so I've tried spec development a couple of times. I've looked at SpecKit and I forget what the other one was, SpecKit versus something that were the first two. And then Google made Google Conductor, which I tried, and I've worked through Bootstrap new services. If you look at my dev stream, the dev stream discovery actually was bootstrapped with Google Conductor, and I've done the initial, I don't know, 5 stories or versions with Google Conductor as the spec-driven system. And then I stopped using it once I got into things. I started just giving it normal AI tasks. I didn't feel the need for Google Conductor anymore. I didn't feel the management side as much as giving me a benefit. So I kind of stopped using Google Conductor. I've used it also a bit on the main project, just kind of brainstorming, seeing where we are at. I did like the onboarding questions, as someone explained. The human thinking process is just a process of asking and answering questions. If you ever had someone who's really intelligent and really kind of pushed you on something, he would ask really smart questions. And for me, getting smart questions was interesting. I don't know if I'd call the AI questions smart, but they were of varied point of views. They were asking from different point of views than I normally use, because it's really easy for a developer to just wear the developer hat literally and just think about development. And once you do any such process, when you go through any such spec process or description of a project, you get asked from a marketing point of view, from like a CV, from like an investor point of view, from a CEO point of view, from the user point of view. You're starting to get questions for different aspects of the system from different personalities or different hats, which I found interesting and contributed. So at some point, suddenly I heard BMAT repeating a couple of times. I'm like, I don't normally jump into things from the first time I hear about them, but once I hear a second and a third, I'm like, okay, people are really enthusiastic about this. I don't remember what was the first or second, and then I've seen um, Mike in AutoCloud mention it. Oh, the community asked for it so much. Oh, we finally have it. We now implemented BMAT. And then I've jumped into AdaDisk, which was a favorite tool of mine just before I jumped into the Google ecosystem fully, or before I jumped into the Google AI subscriptions. So AdaDisk also implemented it, and I was like, oh. Um, so one of those two was like my breaking point, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. And it took a long time to onboard. I spent almost a full day, or at least of productivity-wise. Felt like the full 8 hours just answering all the questions as to bootstrap the project. So the con is a huge time investment up front, right? I'm not sugarcoating it. You're gonna waste a lot of time to start it. And then you're not sure if it's useful or not. You're starting to play around with. Then there's a lot of different tools, and you start seeing the sub-agent or agent personalities, and you can get like a brainstorm with a couple of different personalities asking questions or answering questions, kind of making a discussion, which I find kind of cute. I'm not saying if it's good or bad. Initially, I found it cute. I found some of it to be nice and some of it to be not as useful. It depends what the topic of conversation is. And like I'm kind of asking, do you need these personalities or just have generic questions to AI? I think the personalities are interesting once you try to research a single question, because what I've seen is if you have 3 to 5 items, each one of the personalities just pick one, and then it's just a normal LLM call. What did I find interesting? So what happens in spec development is I mentioned people are doing project management for the LLMs, but this is part of the thing that is in the spec management. So after you say, okay, this is where I'm going with the project, you're describing milestones. We're going to do this thing, and that thing will be like let's call them big versions. And then after those milestones, you start creating epics. I think just one default epic was created originally, and it jumped straight into the stories. But the stories start to become interesting not because there's anything too special about the stories. It seems like it's using an agile approach where the story is like, we're gonna see a story soon, I'll show you. So the reason I'm starting with this is because I'm gonna start on a new story. We're gonna describe the story first, and then we're gonna let it develop. The story I'll show you is a basic, as a person, like as a user or as an admin or as whoever, assuming these things are already true, the system is already set up, I already have a user, I'm already in this phase in the app, I expect these things to happen. I expect this button to exist and to work and to do something. I expect to see X and Y, etc. And then Next up is just the development tasks that should happen. So for this to happen, we have to modify the schema, we have to do the backend, we have to add a new screen or a new screen at the, let's say we have to have a new screen in the front end, and we have to update another screen to point to that screen in the front end. So that's all nice and good, and you got a bit more description somewhere there. This is a developed story that will do, and then you let the agent just develop that story, basically go and code. And I don't know, people like Ralph loops. I don't think it's a Ralph loop. It's some other loop that just goes through the tasks and implement them. Maybe that's not perfect. It will forget things or ignore things or skip things or say things are done while they're not. That happens a bit, but it's generally pretty good. If the story is not full enough, then it will lack some of the implementation. What's interesting that I really like and I'm staying with BIMAT for is the review. The review is interesting for me because it develops an even. You don't have to be exactly on the process. So what happens is I let it develop and then I kind of manually test and add things, and things are coming along. And then when I'm like, nah, this is almost ready, I'm using the review. The review is interesting because it's not a code review so much. It does review the code, but it reviews the code against the story. So if you had things in the story that the code doesn't fully do as you describe the story, it will bring up these points for fixing, and you can jump straight into fixing, or you can add them into bullet items, and then okay, we're back in the server, and see creator dashboard, YouTube, the YouTube dashboard, I think. That's the same, huh? Let's check. Let's see, sorry, you right back at this. Streaming channel. Just because the other day, unstable. See how this looks. Excellent. Shows excellent. It doesn't show any issue, but it shows just from now. But it is live 24 minutes. So these are one of the things, if you're a streamer, you're kind of checking, because yesterday my YouTube stream kind of worked in Twitch, but it didn't work in YouTube. It still kind of looks like YouTube isn't really working. This is kind of okay. What? Oh, oh. Okay, so this is live. Okay. Why is this unlisted? I'm not. When does YouTube start my live streams as unlisted? Uh, Count upload default. Go to your studio settings, upload. Studio settings somewhere. Upload defaults. Visibility. Public. Are you sure this is the thing? Visibility. Live control. Use settings. Start YouTube frequently ask if you want to reuse from previous podcast. Next time, go to manager, stream tab, visibility. Let's see. We'll send you somewhere. I've chat, participant mode, some message, live creation. Customization, option, public, post quizzes. Control is not full. Okay, yeah, and okay, and I could have seen. But how long was this actually? Wonderful. That a 5-second interruption. No, 5 second or 4 minutes. 26, 5 minutes ago. And before. So this was 22 minutes and 1.7 minutes were not working. Where is it going? Up or down? Because this is 26.332. Oh, not saying it. Okay, so I think we had a 20-minute stream with a 2-minute drop, 22-minute stream with a 2-minute drop. Then after the 22 would bring us to like 24, it kind of disconnected until 26. If this was a bit clear. Chat, now we can see here. This is 6 minutes. Stable to stable. This stream is not working that well. I'll need to actually, I think, listen to the streams and see if they're actually good or not. Okay. Hopefully next time this stream presentation. What's up with this? Studio something off. Will he fix that something? Live control. This is meant by live control. I think live control use settings. Manage stream tab. What do I have to do here? Nothing really here. Great highlight. Stream marker. Share. Settings here. Overlay for breaks. I'm not sure. Uh, this stream can be accessed again. Accidentally not and stream. Okay. No outcome stream. Schedule stream. Okay. Let's leave this. Okay. Where was I? So spec development, yeah. You create the stories, you review the stories, you let it dev, and then you have the story reviewer, and it checks the implementation against the story and against other project docs. So what I found, for example, I don't mention specifically in the story, but I have a dbguard and a fileguard pattern. And then if they are violated, then if they are violated, they were actually so some of the patterns in my project is I actually have a dbguard and a fileguard pattern. So each database table can only be accessed by one file in a specific location. And if that's violated, then it should actually come up in two places, in the validator and in the testing. But the code reviewer basically looked at it and said, oh, these changes actually fail the file guard. And the developer actually tried to bypass that by saying, don't check this. So basically, the developer was bypassing LinkedIn checks that I've created especially for this to happen. It was just circumventing the protections as part of his development. So the reviewer said, we need to fix that, which is kind of funny because the AI catches itself doing a bad thing, and that tells you, okay, we have to fix that. So that's why I kind of like the reviewer. Every time I ran it, it actually caught things which are substantial in terms of they are complex to actually review, and they're not like, oh, you didn't put a new line, you didn't put the new thing. Like, not what I think of as code review. It's more of an actual, I don't know how to explain. It's actually reviewing logic. It's actually finding logic issues. It's finding things that are violating the project standards. It finds things that are not protective enough against edge cases or against errors. It finds things that should be done better for a reason, not just because it's better code quality, but for reasons like this API can fail and we don't have a fallback. Or we have a fallback, but because of how it's built, it's going to take 5 minutes and it should actually only take 30 seconds. So I was so far pretty impressed with the results from the code reviews. Maybe the issues I have nothing to compare to because I was not doing AI code reviews before. But the code reviews in BMAT is something that I really like and a reason for me to stay with BMAT for the moment. I'm not saying I won't replace it with another spec framework that comes along at some point, but I like to keep that feature as a thing in my workflow that I didn't have before. That's why I love BMAT at the moment. That's why I'm like telling everybody about it. You should use it. And yeah, that's my story with BMAT. So now let me So now let's jump into my code and I'll show you exactly how I'm actually working with it. We'll develop a story and let AI start working on that story. But the developed story is a big part of the framework. My project is not clean. You're gonna see a messy situation, and maybe it's even cooler, but it's not for It's not a beginner tutorial because it's not a clean slate. The thing is not organized. It's a messy situation, and I might tell the project management to, and I might tell the project manager to move things around. There were issues. I'm not saying this is a perfect system. We were working on one story, and for some reason, it started working on the next story. And actually looking at things, I don't want the next story to be the next story. I want to push another story in front of it. So it's going to be a messy situation, which I'm going to fix with AI, which I think is interesting. Another note around what I use. I'm subscribed to Gemini Pro at the moment. I use either Google Anti-Gravity or I use Gemini CLI. When I use Gemini CLI at the moment, I like it just a tiny bit better for most things, not for front end. But there's no real reason what tool you should work with BMAD. I did test it with AdaDesk and it works fine. I did test it with OpenCode and it works fine. Some tools have more integration into those spec frameworks by offering the skills in the slash, by having automatically buttons for you made out. But it's just fine when you just use it as like a text-based quest just to answer by text because it's the same. There's nothing different about it. It's just that one way is trying to make it more a better user interface that actually embraces the full meaning of spec-driven development and making it a workflow with buttons with options that guide you and don't just expect you to just type all the time. It's cute. I don't think it's substantial, but whatever you'd say that. Okay, let's jump into my normal systems. If you're new here, I have the chat over there. I have the half screen that you're seeing is actually my main screen, and I have the big full screen, which is my side screen, but this is where I'm looking at you. This is where I'm looking to the side. But this is my best screen, and this is the bigger screen that I'm showing you. I might need to do something about it. I'm not sure. My thinking is talking to you is more interesting than me looking at the screen all the time. Um, although this is normal. Let me know if you have any thoughts about how this should be better set up. The way I have my terminals, I have here my first terminal is running npm run dev SaaS frontend. This is what you're seeing here, my software, my development environment for Vodflow. Yeah, so this is basically my system running for testing. What else? Nothing. I might have a second screen usually running the workers. I'll show you all the scripts here. So currently I have the workers. Too many scripts lately. So the last two stories I've built the audio worker and then the LLM worker. The audio worker is responsible for extracting audio from video and doing the transcription and enrichment. The LLM worker is responsible for creating the stories and creating the YouTube VOD metadata here. The next story I want is a video worker, which would do the shorts. So basically, we are creating stories. You can see the shorts there. You can see the shorts here if it wants to work. But so we're creating stories, and each story segment becomes like a short. This is the way. So you're gonna see this screen. You can edit clips, download the clip favorite, hear the audio or hear or see the video, you can see the video is not working. So the entire bigger story of what I'm working on is converting my previously local app into a SaaS app. So I'm kind of rewriting some things and trying to have it like I'm trying to build the SaaS as a serverless infrastructure with working. Maybe serverless is not the exact explanation. I have the front end on static hosting. So this part, yeah, so the API streams is an issue from. So the architecture used to be that I have the front end and back end, and the back end does everything as a server. So there were no distinctions between workers or different type of work. It was just the front end, which is the static files, and the back end that does everything. It basically ran all the worker logic. It ran all database access. On local, we had SQLite. And when we're moving to SaaS, we moved SQLite to be Postgres from Supabase. We now have authentication from Supabase. So to best use that, we're moving to have the static front end communicate directly to Supabase instead of having a worker. Instead of having a backend. Okay. So the new architecture is the front end communicating directly to Supabase as the backend as a service. So there is no backend server. I'm not running an instance that just answers things to access the database and do simple things. Instead, the front end accesses the database directly to write and read. It accesses the Supabase for authentication, and any processing is done by workers. The workers are reading the database that the user is written into, doing their magic processing, and writing back to the database. So the front end never communicates with workers. That's why it's without a back end, or the back end is only authentication in a database from Supabase. So I'm not running any backend server. I'm not running any complex functions at the moment. One of the functions in one of the stories would wake the workers or create the workers or do something to bring the workers up. So we created the audio worker and the transcription worker, the audio transcription worker and the LLM worker. Next, I want the video worker to do those clips. So you can see this API is the old way which we had a. So whenever you see this API, it means that this is still an endpoint from the time we had a backend, which we are rewriting to just communicate with the database and never communicate directly with the server. So the front end only knows about the Supabase server. The worker only knows about the Supabase server. They're both communicating through the third party called the Supabase server or Postgres database within the Supabase server. Okay, so BMed, how are we starting it? I'm gonna just start Gemini as the Gemini CLI. Takes a couple of seconds for this thing to start for some reason all the time. It's like, why is Antigraph way faster? I think one of the reasons is it's checking updates on the start, and I think it's blocking and the logging. So BMAD, you see if I start saying BMAD, we have a crazy amount of tasks. I don't know everything, okay? I don't know half of this. I might be missing things that I would learn later that are really useful. But I know we have the main BMAD that you can ask BMAD help. So BMAD help would kind of lead you down the process. If you didn't bootstrap BMAD yet, it would give you the bootstrap task. If you already did, it will give you the next story task that you want to work with. Party mode is the different personalities that you can talk to. You get a project manager, a technical architect, and a UX person. You could have a few other personalities as well. Those are like the ones I've seen come up the most. I'm really interested to learn about like storytelling and problem solving. I don't know. These I think are interesting that I will do at some point. Brainstorming, I'm not sure how that differs from the party mode. I didn't use all of this. So the interesting things I think you have the quick spec and quick dev. I've used the quick dev. It's basically if you just have a small task that you don't want to create a story for. Although it offers also a story mode, and then probably you're getting into this. But this is out of band from the normal project management. So I don't really like that you have a parallel workflow, but maybe it's useful. I didn't look too much. This sounds interesting. Market research, size growth, competition. Edit PRD. This, I guess, edits the original project files. So the workflow basically creates only two files. Maybe we'll look into them at another point. Dev story. This is the main function we're running all the time. So this is there's two things that I always get confused. Dev story is dev story is the executing, and the create story is the description. We're gonna do that in a second. Create UX design. This is interesting. Product brief. This is probably what happens at the start, and you have the epics and stories. Code review. This is the one I mentioned. I like it a lot. It depends on the stories, but I like this a lot. I like the output of it a lot. And sometimes I'll run it multiple times on the same story, especially if I made a lot of iterations. Um, holiday stuff. Interested. Workflow. Workflow. What are workflows? All these agents. So the agents are the personalities. One of the most common things when you configure, you can let them have a name for you as well. What do they call you? I chosen boss. You see, it says, "Hi, boss. We're ready, boss. We're doing this, boss." As a boss, there's a lot of mentions on your name. It's a bit exaggerated. You can edit the existing ones. I didn't get into that level yet. And you can create new agents as well. It's probably create agent. I feel like I'll get into this later with time. Not at the moment. Um, did we Tech Friday is also something I find interesting, but have not gotten into. I should probably read more about this. Oh, you get the personalities directly, I guess. The UX designer is one of the agents that I know, uh, we've discussed with. So in party mode, you basically get some of the agents talking to you. Get three of them. I normally get the UX designer. I don't know. It depends what you're asking to which agents are getting triggered. The situation I've seen the most is the UX designer, the architect, the project manager. I've referenced multiple times bring the project manager and have him edit the stories and stuff. Not sure if it's needed, but it sounds like normal work in a developer settings. You have the architect, the PM, the QA, the UX designers are the ones I've seen the most. I'm not sure what is SM and TechWriter. I can get it, but uh, quick flow, solo dev, analyst. I haven't seen. Well, yeah. So there's one more. I'm kind of interested how BMAT evolves into also marketing. There are a couple of things here that could sound like marketing. You have the research and you have the um I don't know. There's some things about like our communication and things about UX and there's things about storytelling, which is interesting to me as like marketing. I don't know what is editorial. But anyway, so story are the tasks I mostly use create story, dev story, and then review story. These are the three I use the most. This is the flow of work. So we're going to start with create story, and he's going to bring up the next story to work on. But as I said, I have a bit of a messy state, and want to see what we're going to do. Out of the things, it reads the documents of how BMAT works. So BMAT is basically, I guess, like a skill and a collection of text files. There's the text files describing the agents, there are text files describing the flow, there are text files describing VMAT itself, and there are text files created describing your project, your epic. Basically, your entire project management is a bunch of text files. So you can see it looks at the PRD. This is the big project one. You can see it's looking at the epics that it thinks about and a couple of the stories. So this is the story I didn't like as much, and it's actually looking at the next story and the previous story. Um, okay, you can see it has some discrepancies between the story numbers. You know, the epic and the stories are somehow not numbered the same at the moment. I said this is a messy state that needs to get fixed, and this is just the current situation of my project. Saying things are good and proper at the moment, which I think makes it more interesting. Because I'm not bringing you a dry state of like this is an example, hello project. Nah, and you know where my product is at, where it's going, where it's been, what's gone well and what has gone not so well. It's interesting that it actually goes and reads the database schema and checks if things were done or not done. Hmm. So it was doing research for the story. And we review a couple of things. Simple base storage clip foundation, clip generation worker. Why are these two different things? Okay. So this is the epic file or sprint. Oh, it's already moving things around, I think. Saying this one is ready, which is not. Okay. So the sprint status, you can see the thing. So 1.7 was done, the local audio was done, the LLM worker was done. This I agree. This is the situation, the current situation. The 110, the worker picked up and implemented something. I didn't test it. I've not even described the story properly. Not really happy with it. Um, what do I want to happen? I want this should be in the backlog. It should happen. Let's move it last in this epic print Um, what is it? Epic retrospect. Okay. Let's start with this as one thing. So it did try to develop the story for Superbase Storage and AlGuard Click Foundation. Suppose I want to configure. Why do I have these two as the different things? I think I want to merge this and what is the difference? I think as a business story should be one thing on the new worker to take care of the clips similar to the LLM, LLM worker and audio transfer worker. It should use the same worker concepts like registering, registering itself with a unique one, unique ID. I think the problem is I'm thinking about things to talk about. Unique idea. Thinking about things to talk about and say, for example, in one difference for Google Antigraph, it actually has a recording button and it actually has a very good transcription service. And I use that a couple of times. I use it more on the stream than when I'm writing. The thing is, a lot of times with tasks, so when I'm testing and stuff, I still copy things around between the client, the server, and the LLM. And then when I copy, I just add in manually the text, some transcription, or whatever, just move some music around. I should be using transcriptions more or instructing the agent more by audio. Seeing other people use it, I started testing it, but I didn't get into the habit yet. I'm still in the habit of typing, and I didn't set anything for the terminal to actually use transcriptions for LLM instructions. I should probably search that up, look that up in Google, what we can do. It's probably a thing. Some people just have an OS-wide transcription they use, especially on Mac. We got a channel friend that did his own thing that runs with Whisper, with Faster Whisper, or I don't know, whatever version of Whisper on Mac. And I've seen other people send it to an API to Grok with a Q, not Grok with a COK, totally different company. Yeah, I should probably use that one. But the question is, if you're thinking while you're typing, or if you're thinking while you're speaking, what I see a lot of times happen is that just people speak longer description. I also did it. Speak a longer description, have these errors, say, oh yeah, like this, not like that. Actually, sometimes you did that in text as well, where I'm like thinking while I'm writing, thinking while you're speaking and having those issues. It's kind of fine. I'm not sure how well it works on longer sessions yet, but it works. Anyway, a bit of a distraction. So the worker concepts like registering itself with a unique ID, covering work from other workers that you had um, what the clipping order should handle is the initial um, story segments created by the LLM workers are each a clip basically, and we should prep these. How do we prep this? So far I've not made storage for the system. I think here comes the the setup issue of having a bucket in Superbase to upload these loops to. Maybe that should be a start. I think we can match the stars. Also, users can reclick either from existing clips or directly from the transcriptions. Is create small work tasks for the clipping worker. Worker should be most of the actual business logic is already in the code, just as legacy uh, backend functionality that the client communicates with directly via Flash API routes, and the new SaaS mode has the front end only communicated with the Superbase Postgres database, and so does the worker only looks at that database. We have a instruction that should keep this working for the legacy. So runs with the old SQL like DB. For the front end of clips for SAS mode default, we no longer need the audio player. Was optimization based on what we get local. We already have the code just saying we are using YTDL to just get section of the video we need and download the video fully. What else? So I'll sometimes take clues from here. I think we need to disable this edit clip probably. Uh, mm, Download copy path. Oh, oh, okay. It's looking at the buttons. Should make a storage and download clip work. So when the files and superbase attached to the user only is private and just allow the user access to it for the video media player on that page. I don't think we need the copy path button process mode. It only made sense for local commands. The shortcut key download. Um, Not sure if we want to handle the edit clip button and screen. I think we should put the coming soon. Soon UI on it. Make a future story in another epic to get the edit clip. Um, this is not good. Okay. Should also examine this clips page if this is correct. Or we need to fix something from our changing how constructions are handled in the database. What? Go back. Come on. Did I just do back? Don't have this one now. Want to copy this text over. Do text. Okay. Yeah. So you'd see this would start moving the stories around and start describing the new story. I'll be back in 5, let's say. I'm back. One round. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I don't have everything fully automated yet. Still reviewing RM commands. But now I'm interested in what happened. We're doing LLM worker generate stories system. Okay, while we editing that one. So this seems a bit messy. Okay. So 1.10, this is the one we're interested in. It's writing. I'm probably gonna iterate over that one soon. Let me first let it around and all start. So this is an example of the stories I was talking about. So this is what create story does. You have a story. It mentions here the validate story at the end. Doesn't matter. You have the story title. There's a numbering for the product management system. There's the name of the story, what it's actually about. Normal stuff. The story is always described as in a specific style that's like an agile style. As boss, could be as a user, could be as whatever. I want to implement a dedicated clip worker that manages the creation and storage of video segments using Superbase storage and YouTube download for efficiency. Okay, so the user can securely favorite, download, and manage their clips within the SaaS platform without full video downloads. Okay, this is like AI tool. Right. Backend, frontend. Okay, so the backend, giving a new clip worker implementation using the established pull model pattern. So these are like base assumption. When something happens, when the worker pulls for pending clip tasks from the clip task table, that's a new table that I'm not aware of. Then it uses the YouTube downloader to fetch only the required video segments, avoiding full file downloads. Okay. And the worker uploads and generates MP4 files to a private Superbase storage bucket clips. And multi-tenant RLS policies on the clips bucket ensure only the owner can access their files. And FileGuard utility is upgraded to handle the asset lifecycle, upload, download, save, delete, for cloud storage. I don't think I have, well, I do have delete. Yeah, okay. But it's interesting that the delete that needs to be tested and updated. And the worker implements standard reliability features, unique registration ID, heartbeat, and dead worker testing. So this is the main logic. So we have how workers are working normally here. We have the specifics about the bucket and the MP4 files. Front end, given the clips page, when in SaaS mode, the legacy audio player previews removed, and the favorite button correctly updates the is favorite in the Superbase. The download instructs the browser to download the MP4. Copy path is removed, legacy on local only feature. Edit clip displays a coming soon UI placeholder, default feature, and precise selection unavailable warning is resolved by ensuring the transcript linkage logic is correctly mapped to the source disk. Yeah, so these are all the things I've mentioned and some more. Task infrastructure, create clips bucket in Superbase with class, create table, create table for the tasks to try to work like you. So there's gonna be two different task types. They are one's initiated by the user and one initiated by the LLM worker creating the stories basically, or the story segment. Okay, Falga, okay, not as interesting to me. Click worker development. Scaffold, probably implement. Of the audio implements. Okay, okay. These are implemented, not the above. Well, so I don't know. Downloader, notebooks, privacy, security. I'll create send URL. Okay, so I did some research and it provides security notch references to the Epic, to FileGuard, and purely from that page. Okay. Agent model use Gemini 2 Flash. Interesting. I don't know what they changed things. But it was only model, just show model, not model manage. Model set a model to use. What's the difference? Oh, this is a manual without the UI. Okay, this is changing the last Gemini version that I updated, I guess. I'm kind of concerned this happened. Hey, what's up, Stony? How you doing? Happy birthday again. You didn't actually stream. I should look over here. You didn't actually stream for 24 hours, man. You said 24 hours. I came back after less than 12 hours. You were gone. My camera is glitchy as hell. Oh, oh. How is the rest of the thing? Do you see my cursor moving smoothly? Is it just the camera or is it everything? If I drag and drop the window, does it seem fine or everything's going around? I've seen some of the camera glitch and wasn't sure if you're streaming out. I actually see it. My no streaming. Goodness. Good now. Can I watch myself or do an infinite stream? I mean, it doesn't look too bad to me here. I don't hear you. Oh my god, what do you mean? There's no audio as well. This is not good. No, no, this is not good. I'm writing to myself. This is not good if nothing's working. I assume stuff is working. Summer. Can't hear myself here. Is this the actual? I should look at the live. I can hear my own audio. Is nothing working for you? Let's see. La 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 la. Is it? Now it's lag. It's a huge lag between. Oh, this is funky. Wow. It's only the 1080p. It's okay. Sweet. Oh, is the audio totally not working? What's going on? Um, this uh, 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 see, what am I broadcasting nowadays? Settings, stream, audio, I can disable here, that's not the question. Stream, what do I stream? Output, audio track 1. Audio track 1 is the normal thing. Yeah, it's trippy. What happened? I'm actually listening to someone's taking myself. That's not good, that's not good, that's not good. So, should I just play back? So this is channel 1. Oh, so for the VOD I didn't want desktop audio at all, so desktop audio should come back. It's fine. I hear myself wanting. Okay. Does it matter if I take this or put this back? This is not even audio. Don't have any dropped frames. Audio editing. At some point I've heard audio. I disconnect. No, I found. Oh, what the heck? Is this the audio issue? Oh, did I click a mute inside Restreamer? Come on. Can you hear me now, Sterling? Still around? Ah, come on. It's too sound. Okay, I think this is the issue. It worked for a while, then it stopped working. Okay, I have this audio on. This video buffering, blah blah blah. Can we now have some audio in the glitchy tweet thing? Bullshit. I do not have any audio here. This is audio. Let's see. Stone is gone. I need to check for myself. Yeah. So I can. The audio here is horrible. No? This is kinda horrible, but has audio. This doesn't seem to have audio for some reason. Which I see myself. No, no audio. Not good. Download. So what the heck? This is normal. So the last one shouldn't be a thing. Why is this muted again? Is this muted just for the player, or this is just a player? Hold on, let's see if I try this. Yeah, so this is not affecting that. La 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 la. Okay. Maybe I just. Uh, hmm. Should I just close the stream and try again? Well, why am I not hearing myself here? Just get back to the audio. Oh, so we said YouTube does work, we said Twitch doesn't work for the audio. Why is there no audio in Twitch? You search something, download resolution, download bandwidth, times, projects. Let's say anything about the audio. Let's see. Like, why do I hear the audio here? It's like, there's a horrible audio here. There's no audio here. Like, man. Not sure what is wrong. Pardon me. Uh, yeah, the it's what am I thinking? Stop writing. Okay, cool. This is not my code, man. uh, the audio. Stupid. Output audio. Here's the 320. Here's the correct. Um, this doesn't touch the. Not sure. Okay, what do we try? Because this works when I'm directly streaming. I need a problem with someone here. Good question. How do I click from here to the share? Ah, YouTube smokes. Yeah, I think I'll have to change something here. So, what are all of these? Where to store? I just have playlist and segments. Don't care. Version, segment name. What are all this shit? Set the output at the camera, so this is not interesting. Just make sure I'm gonna get. You're gonna jump on YouTube. Yeah, audio is really bad. Yeah, yeah. Let me. Data. Stream disconnect. Just recover. New one. There. La 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 la. Is there any audio? No audio. Let's see. What's up? Okay. This sounds like some audio. La 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 la. It sounds like some audio. Does this have an audio? Audio, audio, audio. And here is the starting. Can you hear me now? Both on Twitch and YouTube? I think they are working now. I'll keep this around. Get rid of it. Normal glitching? That's excellent. Thank you, Stony, for debugging. I didn't know. I was thinking about a tool for streamers to check stupid things like that when you start just checking that the streams are working everywhere. YouTube is kind of weird. I don't know. I streamed yesterday, didn't stream to YouTube, just streamed to Twitch. Yeah, that's fine, Stony. I can see you on either platform. Cool, thanks for the check. Yeah, just like pre-flight check or whatever. Check your stream while you're streaming. That all the platforms you're trying to be on. I know you're only on Twitch. Update your YouTube link in the account. Yeah, I'll do it after stream. I won't do it now. But thanks for the note. I'll look at it. Yeah, I think I renamed the YouTube channel, and then that breaks the link. This is why I don't bother with multi-stream. Too much of a hassle? Is that the thing? Yeah. I don't know. I think it's one of those things that you kind of set up one time and it works. I've just rejiggled everything on how I stream, how I multi-stream. I used to stream directly from OBS with the Atium plugin into the three platforms. But my internet sucks, basically. Every time I talk to another streamer, it's like, "Oh, I only have 500 megabits up, and it doesn't it doesn't stream well. I'm like, oh, that bandwidth's not your problem. I got only like 18 megs up. People are like with the hundreds and thousands. Like, the stream delay is very high too because of this. Because of the emoji streaming. Or I'm now restreaming. I've set up this. I have a script that starts it starts DigitalOcean node, which was streaming. I only set it up or finalized it yesterday. I have a gigabit symmetric. Come on, just you people with your good internet, not like here. Uh, yeah, the max I can have is double. I can have suppose the 100 megs down and 40 whatever up. It's not even full 100. Some people get the 1 gigabit down, not symmetrical. Upload is 100 megs would be great. I'm like, no, I can get from like 20 to 40 on the upload, and I don't trust it works because I debugged the speeds with them. Well, it was years ago, and I couldn't get actually higher speeds here. I didn't bother checking it again. If I would ever stream to multi-platform, that I would set up my own RTP, RTM. Yeah. So that restreamer you saw me open on the browser, that's basically the restreaming node that I have. So I stream to a node and the node goes multi-platform. Um, I don't know how much delay it adds. Suppose couple of milliseconds at least. It was just to clear up my bandwidth because I was maxing my bandwidth totally. 50/50 should be a minimum in every country those days. Yeah, it should be, but yeah, I get less than 50 down and like 18 up is the maximum. I think they call it 20, but 18 shows the connection totally. After 18, it breaks everything. I also put QoS on the about 20 seconds. Is that the stream delay when you're seeing the chat? Is that how you measure? That's how I look. Yeah. Um. Anyway, I can double my internet. I don't like the pricing for that. I set up the restreamer to save some bandwidth. I don't have Kick at the moment. I know you're like that garbage platform. Forget about it. But I did before I streamed uh from my own computer 5 megs to each platform. Now I'm streaming 6, and I've upped it to the 1080p on 60 FPS. I had 30 FPS because it wasn't working so well. I'm not sure. Hopefully, this is fine. I think you tell me if things are wacky like before. Um, I know I'm still used to 30 FPS. I don't see the point most of the time. Uh, but anyway, I upped it. Like if I had all the features, I would enable the enhanced streaming on Twitch. Sometimes I'm watching multiple streamers, sometimes just for the credits. Sometimes I actually have the audio for a couple and I jump around. Like I'd watch you and JD and another streamer. I have like sometimes 3 streamers up or actually even 4, but I never look. Usually I can only handle 2 or 3. Yeah. 30 FPS is perfect for software streams. That's what I thought and did before when I decided. I don't know. Just because I had the extra meg, I'm like, it seems fine on 5 megs. What do I do with the 6 meg? Like, why am I actually adding the bandwidth? Maybe I'll try the 60 FPS, see the difference. I don't know if there's any difference. The only time what is how smooth my cursor would move. I don't know what the point is. But everyone's doing it. I'm like, I want to be like the cool kids. Which I'll never be, but yeah. So I don't know if you. So in the last week, I'm playing around with BMAD, and that's part of it. This is how we describe stories in BMAD. It basically will describe a story. It's not that I'm making the story. Basically, we have the create function, create story function. Oh yeah, I watch multiple streams at the same time too. I just switch between them every so often. So yeah, because I have low bandwidth, I usually switch a lot of. I switch the inactive streams to like 160p or 144 in YouTube. because usually I only care. I would do audio only without the video if I could. And I only listen to the audio, and then when they're talking about something interesting, if there's anything on screen, then I up the rest. Maybe disassemble out of excitement. Um, so I up the rest only if there's something interesting, if there's a game, if there's something on stream. But like most of the time, I just want the audio. I want the stories. I want to know what's going on, but I'm not actively watching. There's a screen on the side, like I have the chat for myself on the side. Same, I have other streamers, same as I have music. I don't stream the music at the moment. And, if I watch any like YouTube or something interesting that I want, I put in the audio then. I think that even didn't work on stream until a minute ago. Yeah, still early streamer pains. Remind me strange, I put the others on low volume so I can tune them out, but every now and then I hear a word that draws my attention. Exactly, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, I have the streamers just on low volume. Sometimes I have the streamers talking instead of music. Certain streamers I like the cadence, and I find that the same white noise that I want music from. Sometimes I have the streamers plus music because they are very spiky, they're quiet, and then they talk about something interesting. Did you manage to get the file listing fixed in Docker? Oh, so it's been a while. Um, I don't know if you're interested in the Discover tool. There's been a bunch of work, but so I'm kind of abandoning the downloaded versions and I'm moving to making a SaaS version. There's a login and getting started. It doesn't work yet. I'm not talking about this too much because it doesn't work yet, and there's a whitelist which you're probably not on. But this is gonna be a SaaS product, and you're gonna get the same service in SaaS, and that's why what I'm building is converting everything over basically. It would look essentially the same, only you get the OAuth at the start, and I want to see what's the VOD tool about. Oh man, the thing is, a lot of things are broken, but because I'm mid conversion. But basically, what's going on is after you imported the video, and you can see the thumbnail is broken. But it doesn't matter which version you imported the video, and you start with like you can watch the video. It doesn't matter. It's not interesting. The track information, transcription will happen automatically. So for the local versions, you'd actually need to actively click. You can see transcriptions, not very interesting by itself. One feature we have here is that you can clip directly from the transcription. If you've seen something like Descript, this is obvious. Enrichment happens automatically. Everything seems a bit broken at the moment. I don't know. Maybe do you have a streamer? Maybe I'll import. Do you have a VOD that I can check? Make this interesting. Tell me. Still Miguel. Scrub. VOD. Don't tell me you don't have VODs. Podcast. Four. Oh, I'm hearing your voice from the top. Okay, I'll take your stream from yesterday. Just copy the link. I want to do it in the pod version is probably gonna be horrible. What? Give me a second. Yeah, so let's take Stony's stream. Record my VODs locally when I stream in higher quality and have Have you heard the channel? Yeah, yep. That was my original intent. So let me get the workers up and clear. Stop at the workers all. Didn't choose JCX. There's workers all. What I expect, hopefully. NPM run workers all. Workers all. Workers all. I've just been there this second. Come on. What did they do? Where's the all? I'm distracted. Workers, workers. Where's the workers? Worker. Oh, come on. Your stream is buffering. I can give you one of my votes if you want to test on it. I already stole one of your votes. I'm looking at the one from yesterday. Yeah, so this is currently working on my internet, so it's gonna take a while. It's gonna download the vote basically. You see here, and you see my poor bandwidth. So it's gonna take your vote, basically transcribe it by Grok at the moment, and after it transcribes it, it's gonna send it to LLM to create the stories. And in the source mode, don't worry about it. I can barely get your 700 meg VOD. You're gonna send me gigs of it. I don't need it. Yeah, later I wanna let you upload the videos. I'm currently disabling that. Oh, now it shows me for the other one. Transcription. Oh, wait, which one is this? 39 and 40. 39 is 40. Yeah, 40 is your one. Okay. No, the names are fucked. Okay. But why did it start showing the stories? Okay. So after this is the other vote, not yours. I mean, source votes. So what this is doing is creating the stories. Roman. I can barely read this. Someone's doing an Olaf voice something. Basically it tries to extract interesting part. You can see from so many bugs. It should show the full length of video. Let's say it's a 4-hour stream and we extracted 3.5 hours of interest. You can see some things that are marked as chat, as tasks, as vibing personally. Borderline NSFW meme. Where this would go is show you a clip. This is currently broken for the SaaS version. This is my next task that you can see I was trying to work on here. Is basically create the clips worker. So the clips worker should take the big video and cut the clip and show you the exact clip. This was working in the local versions before. I'm not inclined to test that at the moment, but the thing is, this is the point I'm currently at in the conversions. Is create the clips worker. And after I create the clips worker, I only have the dynamic workers in DigitalOcean, and I can actually show people and let people try this finally. There's gonna be things that are disabled, like the edit clip and like the uploads at the moment, which I just need more work to work on them. Things break, don't feel bad in any way. No, the thing is, I didn't stream for a week because the state is so broken that I feel I don't have much to share. I can only show like sprints of me coding, but like nothing in the software. It's kind of frustrating to me because I want to show at least, okay, we create the stories, what's going on with the stories. So some of the stories, the interesting thing is you can see different clips. They don't have to be sequential, for example. What we can see in the clips actually is usually the why is this broken? So it's supposed to show the transcript of the clip, which I guess is also broken. So what was said during that time? I feel like I'm just, you know. So you can say course in jar shares no course in quote jars for a fun image bit. It should show the actual transcription, but this is like AI generated what the name of the segment and what went on in there. This is specifically an imported stream from Quantum something. What's his name? I don't know if you know him. Which I had this. Yeah, this is the Fallout stream from Quantum something. Quantum Apprentice. So this is his stream that I've been using as an example. The Fallout modding one. I don't know if you know this guy, and I had just another different one to do as a YouTube test. This I wouldn't necessarily recommend watching specific streamer, but yeah. I don't think this is good to stream. I read the depiction of software development, not perfect image of a tutorial. Never heard about them. Yeah, Quant is. I have nothing to say about this guy. Quant has been streaming for several years now, or at least over a year that I have seen him. He does multiple different things. The biggest part is him learning programming. He had like 13 episodes or 13 streams about learning Bash. He learned another. He learned C or C++. I don't remember if Python. He just has a lot of learning streams, and he lets chat be what do you call it, like a backseater. Like chat would suggest 3 ways to do the thing. He would try the 3 ways, and he doesn't have a development background. He's just random. I don't know. He doesn't have development. He's actually working as like someone in a fuel station, like filling fuel. I'm not sure exactly what, but in a fuel station. I don't know if it's still true. He made for a long time. I've watched him make like actually something that's similar to not exactly. He didn't make a fully um, not like a media survey. He just used what he's learning and built like he wanted the voting system from Discord chat to the movie to watch next because he's doing like a movie watch Fridays or something. So he wanted people to be able to vote for it. So he used also TMDB that he also launched about from Stream to get like the movie assets the same as you have in the thing and some scripting to scrape data and stuff. He did that while learning. He does a lot of games on stream, like World on Stream. He plays a lot. Just today, World on Stream, Queen. I don't know, like 3 or 4 different games. I've played the other one. I've seen the other 2 games first time today. Actually, I know they go on the list forever. Play a lot of World on Stream. I don't know. He's a fun guy. He's just a fun guy, and he kind of goes along with a lot of stuff with a lot of people. Doesn't matter where you steer it. He's very good with chat. This is one of the reasons I put people as recommended is they are good with chat. And they are nice to interact with, and usually smaller streamers. From the smaller ones, he's maybe a medium. I don't know. His watches, vary between 20 and 80 kind of level of stuff. I don't know. He's just a nice streamer and varies a lot, but I don't know. He does so today he streamed the game at the start. He did a lot of Fallout modding. He still does. He has Fallout modding streams and learning software dev streams and some other streams. Um, but I don't know. He's one of the. I connect to his streams and like style. Just chatting about anything, uh, including some politics, depending on the mood and news and whatever programming. And his was it him or another person? He'll go for all the small details. It wasn't him on Docker. He was on something else last time. But like all the small things, show me all the commands. Where is it on disk? Where is everything? Like hacker mentality. Although he doesn't do software, and I'm like, you should. He tried to apply a bit, but I'm like, you should get a programmer's job. You have the mentality. You just don't have the practice, but you really have the mentality and you have, the personality for it. You should be getting a programmer's job. And it's like, just, yeah, I don't know. I love it. You can see, so I have I don't know if you've looked at the Discover platform lately. Uh, but basically, if you even hit offline, this is kind of new. The order for newest online, I didn't actually make this. This is AI just decided. Oh, newest online, I'll put the recommended on top. So you can see my full list of recommended is everyone I've watched and I know. I can probably tell a story about each one. Adam is the only one which is from the bigger streamers that's here. I usually try not to have the bigger ones. Um, this guy, I don't fully remember. I think he's more from like hardware and stuff. Yeah, it's from like makers and crafting. I had a small period where I was working on like more for hardware projects, like a software side for hardware projects. I was into the hardware a lot. And I got a couple of them still. I'm classified as a startup yet, am I? Um, the classification for startup, I told you the classifications are like rule based. So if you put anything like make 10K a month or make $1 million or a billion or a trillion or gazillion, then it makes you a startup. If you talk about money, it makes you a startup. Um, that's the main rule. If you mention money, it's gonna make you a startup. I don't remember if there's another rule in there. JD is here, you know him. This guy, I think he streamed once in the software category and he regretted it. he's actually he's actually mainly into insect photography and he's editing photos on stream. His streams are short, like 20 minutes to an hour. You can see here the average says hour and a half. He's relatively doing a short one. Actually not sure who this guy is. I was trying to fix somehow I got people on the list that I don't know. This guy I think I've seen just today and I don't fully remember it. It was nice. Here's you. Abu Dhabi, it doesn't say startup. This guy is nice. I forget what exactly he calls, but he talks very slowly and he's nice and I don't know. He's a nice to watch. This guy I think did some app, which is why I've Nati is nice. He's a bit crazy. He's streaming a lot of games. He does stream a bit of development. When he does development, he does like Twitch tools. He has a couple of tools, some free, some paid, on his pages. His YouTube's are kind of nice. He does a lot of instructions for streaming. I don't know if you know Shaky Coda is one of the small ones. He usually gets, between 1 and 4 people or something. He has some people coming back all the time, like some regulars, is what I'm trying to say. Lately he does small games. He uses for teaching. Who's this guy? I'm not sure why he's here. Andy Mike does the AutoCloud. He develops that on stream. He has quite a community, which is impressive, both contributing to the code and on streams. I think he multi-streams to YouTube, and I think he has more people on YouTube. The dev guy is nice. I always confuse. There's 3 of them. I think I don't really like the music, but if as a personality, I, I don't know because of the music choice, which is what like the but like nice developing some kind of like CMS outbound phone calls thing online for one guy. Yeah, interesting. Still Griffin, maybe you like him. He's so honest at times. The last 2 days he was super high, at least midstream. Um, his vibes change a lot between being cranky and annoyed and like going off at people and being very laid back and nice, and he really does get high. And yeah. So he's a kind of like developer advocate. Yeah, developer advocate. He has like a job as developer advocate. He streams for the job, and he goes to conferences a lot to speak and meet people. And so he's like a networker, almost develop. Like he develops his own stuff. He has what was the Git Kraken is one of the things that I remember the name of. I don't know, like an easier, different Git CLI thing. Um, he streams like 6 to 8 hours a day, maybe just midweek, I think. He's very consistent. He's there all the time. Like his hours are there unless he's in a conference or something, he's always there. He has consistency like a day job. Really, really meticulous about it. Lady of Code, I think you know her. I don't know. I found her kind of random for now. Every time I've been there, it's a different topic. Um, she was on my like she's a really nice person. I talked to her in chats. She's all on many other dev streamers chat, and I speak to her. She's on JD's chat. She's on who was the last one I said? I just see her in other chats, and she's nice to chat to. I don't know. I like her more as a viewer in others' chats than you have her open right now. Oh, is it? Is she live? Is she live now? Shows offline. Oh, that's lovely. Petit Pois, for me, it's very early that he streams. He's French. He talks about tech news. She rated me yesterday. Oh, fun. He does tech news stuff. You can see he talked last about this Irish kind of thingy startup that they're like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. He's fun. He's very light. He's very jokey on stream. He sometimes develops, but lately he only does like tech news things. Talks about whatever companies did this or that, and they launched this model or that. This guy is from hardware stuff. Uh, it's supposed to be like a workspace account, but I think only one guy is streaming there. It's really nice, but it's more hardware if you're interested. These guys are kind of funny. It's weird. I don't know if I told you. There's one person kind of teaching, and the other person acts like he knows nothing and is impressed all the time. But he's also kind of bored from it. I don't know. I've seen one stream they had like 100+ people. Shish, you've been tracking me for 100. Yeah. Um, he does teach random things. One stream I've seen them with over 100 people, then another stream I've seen them with one person. Like no one was watching them for 2 hours, for 1 to 2 hours. You made me bring up this designer. I've looked at some of his offline work because I think he streams late my time. I've seen him for like designer of that. I've seen him for like 30 minutes or something online late. Is it late or early? I forget. It's just not much my time zone for watching it. I've watched some of his recorded stuff. There's no image here. This looks familiar. say the name. Which person is that? This looks like. Which one it is? Stack Overflow. Someone's actually using it. Not sure. Maybe this is one of the mistakes. I had like AI actually adding people that I didn't ask for. I think some of them were added because I tested someone that was live at the moment. Hedgehog Zombie is also hardware 3D printing niche. Not sure is this at the moment. Theo, I don't know if you don't know him, is tech news. And apparently there's a new guy that's, I think this guy, no. He does tech news. He's a developer, the tag is tech news, is pretty good at it. What's interesting is that he basically streams while he's mainly recording for edited videos. So you want to do edited videos, he's recording, he's on stream. He does breaks with chat and get feedback from chat, but he's mainly streaming to record, and he has a team and editors and stuff. Of course, I know him. Digital Dragon is also from hardware, 3D printing and stuff. He's nice. Nick is one of my personal favorites. He mainly streams like once a week on Dev, once a week or once every 2 weeks, and he was on a vacation recently. He's actually one of those build in public fully. He does recorded videos with all his different incomes and stuff. So super open about everything. He has like a marketing company and he's also building a product, and he's also using a friend's AI product to do like direct marketing to LinkedIn, where it first finds you people to market to, and it collects information about them and creates a dynamic message for them to do like cold messaging to people. He's a nice person. I don't know if he's originally American, but he is somewhere Vietnam, I think. And he also plays Star Citizen a lot. And maybe another game, but like, I don't know. I, I, I find like I vibe with him a lot. Um, this is a relatively small new streamer that does. Oh, this is the fitness guy. Um, I don't know if you're into fitness. I'm not really into fitness, but I find what he does is really cool. Basically, he has like a rep counter. So if you do whatever, pull-ups, push-ups, anything, I don't know, he has at least 6 different things that the app would do a counter for. So almost like you're tracking around or something. And he also has like a calorie calculator. So he has a desktop version that's free on the web browser. Like you can just go to the website and use it using your camera, doesn't matter, phone or laptop, I guess. And he's working on an iOS version. And I'm just like, okay, just do the marketing video for it and just push it. So it uses like AI for image detection, and it uses just AI voices from the phone just to speak back to you. And he also has like I said, like a calorie counter and stuff for diet related whatever. In the same app. I'm like, no, just the rep counter. Just concentrate on the rep counter. He's also like trying to make an income out of it, like a startup thing. I like Hal Shin. He does a lot more edited YouTubes. He only streams like once a week, and he drops like 2 YouTubes a week, I think. Tech programming news. I think he's still finding his way, right? He has some videos that did well and some videos that are pretty poor. There's like a day in the lifestyle, and he has like, oh, I've used this tool, or he actually built for Mac a software to run the local Whisper on Mac for free, open sourced, and sharing that. Boya's making a game. I really like the aesthetics of his game. He's one of those like works for 3, 4 years on the game and the game. Sometimes there'll be a demo. He has cool characters and stuff. After Ethan also does like tech news and tech chat stuff. I think he also plays games a lot. I think like most of his streams are actually games, but he does some tech. Um, I forget. This looks familiar, but I forget. This guy I love a lot. He's a bit ADHD crazy, crazy mind, crazy thing. I think he's probably the first one to go create spec frameworks without naming them, without knowing, but not sharing them. He's like a self-taught, random, does everything, too much energy, too much productivity, does crazy stuff. He made his all. It's like you know how some people like someone who wrote Dune or who wrote Harry Potter or something and create or Star Wars and created the whole universe of things. That's why this guy does with code, with spec. He created personalities that talk like it's next level. I can't even describe exactly everything he does. You go there and you're like, whoa, too much, just too much stuff. And he's not from a developer background. He's not developing, but I don't know. You have to watch this guy. He doesn't stream too frequently, but oh my god, so much stuff. You can ask him about, I don't know, just watch him one time. Like maybe you'd understand more than what I am. Um, yeah, I didn't stream for a while. This is that guy's kind of nice, laid back, develops something. I forget what exactly. Uh, I streaming. I didn't watch it for a while. This guy I think has been around for a while. This guy's more hardware. I haven't watched him for a while. I don't watch hardware for a long time. This guy, I forget, it's like a startup does these two startup doing some kind of app differently, separately. Forget these guys. It's just nice. I remember the look. I think that's another guy that does some kind of startup as well. This guy, but this guy I don't think has been around for a long while. I think I haven't seen him for a month or something. Yeah, that's it. How many streamers do I track? Too many. There are others that I didn't get recommended. I still kind of know and maybe watch, but hopefully you find someone. So you found someone new to look at, and hopefully the stream is working and I'm not talking to myself. Um, said ladies, yeah, ladies live. How come? Oh, I don't know. This is open. Maybe this is open since I started streaming, so more than 2 hours ago. That's why she was offline. Okay, makes sense. She's streamed for already 3 hours. Okay. Go back here. I know how to show this. Why do this now? This is not 100%. Stony, you still on? Viewer says no. Stony is gone. It's gone. Um, yeah. Oh, you're still around. Shish. Maybe. Maybe you're around, maybe you're not. You're not sure. Thought you ran away because the tracking says you're not here. It's tracking blind. Yeah, you're back. So you have me on like you have me small on audio only. Then you hear your name and you come back. Dude, I'm exhausted. What? You promised 24 hours stream and you didn't do it. Why are you exhausted? Did you? Nah. I left you on like 6 hour stream and then I came back 8 hours later and you were not there. No, I don't think you streamed more than 14 hours. Did you? Hey, Caesaren. Is that how you pronounce your name? How'd you find me? Where are you from? Around? I did, you bastard. You bastard. Oh, really? Let's see, Stony. Did you have the entire thing? Why is it not complete? Aaron. Aaron. CS Aaron. So like computer science Aaron? No, exactly, 16 hours. I knew you weren't there for 24. Says 16 hours. I told you 16 hours later you were not there. Busted you. Counter-Strike, Aaron. Oh, you're a gamer. Got any interest in development? OBS crashed midway. It's OBS, it's not you. You came back? Why is the stream so laggy? There are two streams. What two streams? I'll look over it. Okay. Stream laggy for you, Aaron? Sorry. I'm doing web development. What are you working on? Any particular tech, any particular project? These are my two projects. This is my side project. If you want to find other streamers, you can, in the software category, you can separate app gaming and game dev if you want. This is getworkflow.com/discover. You can find specific ones, you can find specific tech, choose by language and stuff if you're interested. It's not lagging, but it's like artifacts. Is that the camera going wacky again, Stony? That, is the audio clear though, Aaron? If you want to find dev streamers, you can use this tool, separating the app dev, game dev, and artists, the annoying 24-hour streams that are there. You can see how much are in there. It's the whole bottom section. The whole bottom section is glitching. Half the screen is going wacky. Yeah, the audio is clear. Okay. Um, you can play around here. You can even find offline streamers, and we try to have images for the offline streamers, and you can see my list of recommended if you're looking for recommendations of dev streamers. And if you're looking for specific tools, like if people are using Cursor, we try. There's not a lot actually here getting filtered. If you're interested in open source or startups, well, basically this is kind of like advanced filtering for Twitch if you want to find more streamers. And my main project is kind of broken, but if you stream, do you stream, Aaron? You try to stream or are interested in? Basically, it's a reprocessing platform for either streamers or if you want to record yourself while you're building something, and we kind of produce, we extract the stories and make clips or different assets like a YouTube. And, I got too much stuff open. So it creates the stories and segments out of what happened in the stream, and it doesn't work at the moment, but it also creates lets you see clips or make like a YouTube title, descriptions, and chapters. Did you build it? Yeah, I'm building both tools. I'm trying to stream more, and a lot of stuff is happening off stream that I try to talk about when I come back on stream. I do try to develop on stream. This side you can see I wanted to show BMAD and how I'm working with it. This is actually me developing the product. Yeah, so I built the main tool. I started building it as an app you would download or run as a Docker. First started with running locally on my computer, then I thought, oh, other people would be interested. I'll make executables out of them. People complained about security for installing apps, so I started creating the Docker containers. Also, people wanted a Mac, and I don't have a Mac to do Mac builds, so didn't want to spend the money. So the containers, but that proved to be a bit annoying, especially when you try to access the GPU for. I tried to do transcriptions on the GPU locally. It works for me, but it's really hard to make it work for everyone. I got people on Windows, on Mac, people that want to use the container, people that use the executable. I'm on Linux most of the time, and there's so much work. And the security, like the executables to sign it, you have to pay. To have a Mac version, you have to pay. To sign the Mac, you have to pay. And I don't know. Even then, the GPU isn't always detected, and everything is just, there's so much work when you do the apps versus doing SaaS. Like, I have a career as a developer. A lot of times in big companies, we usually do SaaS. I've never worked on a locally installed app, basically. So I've decided I had enough, like a couple of weeks ago. Not a couple of weeks, let's say a week and a half. It's less than 2 weeks ago. I decided I had enough, and I'm just gonna leave the local versions and I'm gonna convert to SaaS. And I'm in the process of doing that. Um, so this same thing, you could have had it in the local version. Basically, we have the stream library where you had a stream, usually VODs from online, either Twitch or YouTube. I'll need to rebuild the upload because before it was just pick a file from your pick a directory you store the videos at. That's how it worked locally. And then we take the video, extract the audio, create a transcript out of it, do some more audio enrichments, and build out the stories, etc. So I'm converting this to be web-based. So the entire front end only connects to Supabase. I'm only 2 years into web dev as a student. Yeah. So this is using Svelte, which is my favorite. It's you probably know React is the most famous one. Svelte is something I like because it's a lot more readable, but I don't know if it matters so much now. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore as AI, as I'm vibe coding with AI most of the time. Before, when I coded, I found it dramatically easier to read and write Svelte components, and they're way more isolated, and their performance is way better than React used to be, at least. I thought it improved a lot since. Um, so yes, Svelte on the front end, I'm trying for it to be a static site. For the back end, I use backend as a service, Supabase, if you know it. I focus on React and .NET. .NET, you're a Windows guy. Okay, cool. Microsoft guy, yes. So Supabase is a backend as a service that does authentication for you. You can use the different providers. If I'll show the main one, need to log out. Do I even have a logout since I converted sign out? Does it work? Yeah. So you can have Twitch, Google, Magic Link, and you can just add providers that basically Supabase implemented them, so it's easy. So many companies in my country doing .NET. So yeah, what country are you at? If you care to share. Um, so authentication by Supabase, which just makes it easy, and they have Postgres as a database, and they have permissions in the database that you can configure only for the user. So basically, it's almost like they create access functions for you. Sweden, nice. I was talking to a guy from Denmark this morning, I think. Yeah, there are quite a few Europeans as well in their streams. I should probably. Yeah, it's kind of hard to know unless people tell you, and sometimes you know just because of the English that's different. I'm in Australia, if you care. Um, and I don't have an Australian accent. If anything, my accent is closer to American, I think, but I obviously have an accent. I'm not. I'm under no illusion that my English is very clear. And that. Um, yeah. So Supabase is like creating the layer and allowing the front end to directly connect to a database, but you have permissions for the user. So the user can only write to the rows, can write and read rows and update rows that belong to his account and not anyone else. I thought you were South American or Netherlands, laughing my ass off. You sound like a true German to me. German. There are a couple of German streamers I actually know that stream. A lot of them also exercise. There's the one guy that does apps I've shown you before, Stony. The guy that I said does web apps and makes money that way and teaches a bit. I think he's German by the accent. I didn't actually verify, but like I made an assumption. Yeah, South Africans are very varied in accent, I find. Some are like perfect English, almost American. Some sound a bit like Indian accent, I'd say. Some have their own unique accent. Actually, one time at work, me and like four other people were in a sales call with someone from South Africa, but he was in the US, representing a US company, but he was from South Africa with a very heavy accent. All four of us listened in, and then we asked each other, but where's your accent from then? It's a Middle Eastern accent. Say that. Um, the accent was so heavy from that guy, we all like asked each other, did you understand what he said? And no one did. And it was a sales call. He was presenting his product. He was prepared for the call. He had his own thing that he would keep talking about. But we didn't understand anything. It's like my boss, two co-workers. He went on for, I don't know, 10 to 20 minutes. And we were like, yeah, okay. And when the call finished, we had no idea what he talked about. I've been to Lebanon. That's not a Middle Eastern accent. Okay. Okay. Um, there's a lot of accents in the Middle East. I'm not. I'm not getting into any more specific. I can tell you, I'm currently in Melbourne, Australia. Obviously, it's not an Australian accent, but yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to decide where you put like the privacy level of what not to expose from your personal life. I'm like, I can tell you it's Middle East, but I'm not getting into more specifics. I don't understand anything either. It's okay. we just YOLO our way through it. Sometimes. Um, I don't know, most sales calls, they put people that are very good at communicating. And we were really surprised. Like, it was a video call, and I don't know. It's just surprising when it's actually sales jobs that have people that don't communicate. If it's customer support, you're like, ugh, they just saved money and found the cheapest person, and they don't care. If it's like a government worker, like maybe they had to hire this guy. But when it's sales, usually you expect people that are good communicators, especially like pre-sales and sales, like these kind of before a person onboarded, because that's your money maker. If you don't get that right, you have no company. That's why we were really surprised. But yeah, I think how do I find the DevStream discovery? Yeah, you know what? I'll drop it in chat. I need to find my own stream to do that. I do read chat on the side, but it's on a Windows VM. Yeah, but connect to chat. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Application manager. Why is Lady of Code not? Did I not follow her? Some people I don't. I watch them even though I don't follow them. I watch every stream, like Adam. I'm not. And there's the funny guy, Warthog Studios. I watch every stream, but I don't follow him. He's actually like a test sample for my app because he's the only one to have. He actually has clips blocked in Twitch, and he actually. It was funny. I tried to show him clips from my software to Warthog, and he was a bit upset that I made clips, but they're not inside Twitch. Though I took his VOD from Twitch, and I've put him on his Discord and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, you should use the clipper from Twitch. You're bypassing the mechanism. There's a reason. We have limitations there." And I was like, "Okay, let me try to clip." And then I noticed, oh, I'm not allowed to actually use the clipper on your stream because I'm not a follower and stuff. I'm like, okay, I need to save this as a test case if I ever try to do clips inside Twitch. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that feature, but I thought about maybe people do want the clips in Twitch because they produce in Twitch. I've just looked today that you can actually just upload clips. I'm not sure if it would be different. One of the features long term I'm thinking is tracking streams live and then possibly producing clips live. So maybe then it's interesting to actually do that from within Twitch for Twitch streams. Uh, Streamer discovery tool. Does it collect live streams from both YouTube and Twitch? Now I answer it. Currently, it only tracks Twitch software and dev category. It doesn't collect YouTube yet. I want it to. You can see links sometimes to YouTube channels. That's YouTube channels that I've scraped from their Twitch profiles, basically. You can see, yeah, there's a couple of features like that, but currently it only scrapes Twitch, not YouTube. The vision for it is to make it a larger thing, yeah, and YouTube is the number one thing I want to add. I did think about it at some point to become like a build and public tool, so have not only streams but processed videos like from YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and also from Blue Sky and Twitch. So have all types of developers across the different platforms, maybe even Discord, Reddit, whatever. Some of these platforms are walled garden, so I'm not sure how easy and yeah. Was it easy to scrape Twitch? Actually, yeah, I've heard like scraping things from Apple is insanely difficult. So I'm saying scraping, it's technically not scraping, I'm just using the Twitch API. So Twitch actually, I'm actually registered inside Twitch as an application and I have their keys, so I'm using their keys. So it's not really scraping. I'm not doing that against terms of service. I'm not doing it against the front UI. I'm not battling the bot identifiers and stuff. I'm just using the API. I did a lot of scraping in other projects. I know this can get hard. I know these. I know how to make this, but I've never done the big crazy things to do that. I done some smaller project like that. All right, so they have a public API. Yeah, Twitch allows you with the public API to get it. YouTube also has a public API. I'm not sure the entire content. There's both a public API and there's like a user own API that I'll probably use later for something else. Yeah, you can do crazy complicated scraping. Um, you need if you asked initially about scraping to AI, won't tell you, but if you tell AI to that if you ask him about specifically like how to implement this and that, he will do it. But if you're just asking generally about AI, a lot of times they say, "Oh, you can't, you shouldn't, it's against the OS." Is scraping like a gray zone, or is it always illegal? Um, yeah, it could be a gray zone a lot of times. About illegal, I can't vouch for every country and law. I'm not a lawyer. Um, a lot of times against TOS, against rules, it's not per se illegal. It's something that I'm kind of clarifying for myself lately about different levels of rules. There's like, rules like killing someone, federal, actually crime. And there's a second level of like a kind of contracts and laws that are about money. And then there are rules that the company makes. So Twitch or Google or Apple, they said you should not scrape our thing. But there's no usually country law that says you cannot. So it's not that they can sue you for money. It's not that you'll go to jail for it. It's usually that they try to battle it, and maybe they'll try to prove that you caused damages in some cases. But it's like the least of being bad kind of thing. I'm not vouching for anything. Sometimes they can try to go at you for like hacking a computer system. There are laws against that. But usually scraping is not that because this is pages that are public on the web. Everyone can see the page, everyone can access it. It's like you put a sign in public and I'm trying to read the sign. You don't want me to read the sign for some reason. That's a you thing. That's not like a country law thing. So yeah, it's a gray area. It's a gray area. I don't know. You can play around with words about like when you should and shouldn't do it. Usually, a lot of people put the line if you need to have a user or not. If there's no authentication, it's usually clear. If there is authentication, it's usually pretty bad. If you're trying to scrape something you have to have a user for and actually log in, that's considered very much into the hard gray and black area. It's usually very bad to try to do things you have to have a user. But if you're just reading pages that are on the web that Google can access, that you can access from the web as anonymous with nothing, that's usually considered white and okay. About how hard do they try to protect and you try to fight it? That could have some gray lines around there. But yeah, it is kind of gray area. You can look at, there are many communities that talk specifically about scraping, either Reddit or Discord or other places. And yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting field. There's a lot of work. You can see here I'm using YouTube Downloader. You can see it's a form of scraping as well. It's a tool that bypasses some protections by Google to by Google to download YouTube video. It downloads both YouTube, Twitch, and another thing. Yeah, scraping is interesting. So the YouTube downloader, you can say it's a form of hacking because if you go to YouTube website, you cannot download the video unless you are subscribed, unless you're, yeah, they have the, what do they call it? YouTube Red, YouTube Premium, I don't know. If you're subscribed, you can download videos full offline. If you're not, you cannot download it in their interface. There are a lot of sites that try to let you download the videos. You could say this is also a form of scraping, hacking something, because we're trying to bypass something they don't normally allow us to do. And if you look at that tool and the systems they're going through, they're kind of hacking, okay, if you don't allow me as a script, I'll pretend to be a browser. If you don't allow me to be that browser, I'll pretend to be a mobile browser. If you don't allow the mobile browser, I'll pretend to be a full browser with JavaScript and solve bot tests. So I pretend not to be a bot, even though it is a bot. And if you don't allow that, we'll try to use a cookie from a real browser, which makes me a real session, but I still use that tool. Then maybe I should build an extension that lets me download the YouTube video locally. Yeah, so if you want to, play with this, you can. But if you want YouTube downloader, that's the ultimate tool now that downloads YouTube videos. And I assume most websites that allow you to download videos are using that tool. It's an executable, if I'm not mistaken, or Python lib. I think it's a Python lib, but can also be available as an executable. So as I said, this tries to do the same thing that scraping does. If you're interested in scraping, like, I can talk a lot about scraping. I've done some of these. I've used third-party tools. Sometimes third-party tools are the best answer. What's the bot called? Do you work as a developer or just a hobby? So I had a career as a developer for around 20 years. Backend and DevOps. I changed titles a lot, but they're all kind of around DevOps. I did like database work with Oracle. I did backend work. I did applicative DBA. I did just DevOps for companies, just setting up, just being responsible for all the systems, servers, AWS a lot of infrastructure is code there, a lot of different automations, getting servers, um, a lot of infrastructure between backend and infrastructure, but also coding backend, debugging backend, being responsible for production incidents when things go down, sites or systems go down, and they call me, and I just need to figure something out, even though it's not my code or anything. So like on-call emergency debugging kind of thing as a DevOps. Um, yeah, in the last around 1 year, I'm trying to work on my own things, and I want to make one of the project actually be an income. This is kind of like my yeah. So the main side, I'm kind of trying for that to be main product initially. very focused on one type of customer, just the dev streamers. It could be expanded later, but basically this is my main project. I kind of stream and talk to streamers and try to get this to be a thing. And I'm mainly kind of feeling like lately, what I care more about is developing my marketing and sales skill. Because the development is kind of like, I know that kind of thing for me with AI. Tips for a student like me career-wise. Didn't you say you're working for 2 years in tech? Or are you studying in 2 years? Only 2 years into web dev as a student. Oh, I thought, okay, as a student. And tips for a student for a career. So I'll mention two things, especially because you have to be capable technically, right? You have to be able to do the work. You don't necessarily have to be very good at the work. I'm studying the internship. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to be very good at the work. You have to be able to do the work. But what's more important and what sets people apart actually a lot of times for having more options of getting hired, having higher pay and stuff, is actually people skill. You do have to know the tech, you do have to be able to do the job. But if you can also communicate well, both verbally and in writing, that can do a lot more for your ability to get the job and get a higher salary and have more permanency and get promotions and everything. It's communication. You probably should be training on how to do the interview process well, getting a good CV. There's, by the way, there are two streamers that review CVs and stuff if you're interested. So one is called the Headless Hunter, I've only seen him today. And there's QuickQui, QIQI_impact, that does like a Friday Fix My Life stream. He does a lot of CV reviewing. He's in tech. He's in the US, although you said you're in Europe. So soft skills, interviewing skills, like the entire thing. Have a good CV. Be good at interviewing, both in the generic, weird HR interviews and on the technical interviews. You don't have to be the best person technically for the most jobs. How I found most interviews is you don't have to be necessarily perfect in, answering, what do they call, all the riddle sites that people are training on. QQ is doing that a lot. I forget what the sites are called, but all the big tests of very hard program problems and knowing all the technicals of every data structure and that. Instead, I'd say you have to communicate while trying to solve problems. That works way better in interviews. If you can say, notice that the interview culture is totally different compared to here versus the US though. Yeah. US LeetCode, yeah. It's like unheard of here. LeetCode is the one I've tried to recall. Yeah. The big companies in US, LeetCode is kind of known. But I'm saying even you don't need to solve that level of problems. It would do way better if you can communicate while you're solving problems. A lot of times, like an interview would ask you, design a system like this. A, it has to do this, B, it has to do that, C, it has to do that. Okay. And you go and start either drawing something up or programming something or answering an answer, quietly trying to get to the best result. That's not the best tactic. The best tactic is once they ask you to describe a question, the first thing you should do is have multiple questions for them to clarify. Even if everything is clear for you, you have to clarify. So someone asked me to build a system that uploads files and serves them to the users like YouTube. Okay, cool. Now I have to shoot questions back. That will get you ahead. That's not something that people understand, but it puts you in a better situation. Ask him, okay, how big are the files? How many reads versus writes? Blah blah blah. It doesn't necessarily matter that the question would be correct. It matters that you're interested and you're interviewing the person given the task. Because this is part of the engineering that they don't teach you. You're there to solve problems. First thing about solving a problem is defining the problem better. If you can get more details about the problem, you'll have a better solution for the problem. Because you'll actually solve what they wanted, not just what they said. So if you can go and ask him a couple of questions about it first, that gives you an advantage right there, because he sees sometimes they think about interns, apprentices, seniors as people that move up with the problem solution. So for an intern or a junior, they have to pre-process the tasks and give you, okay, I want the function that does X. And for an apprentice, you have to get a problem from the business side and translate into the code side and be able to either delegate it or solve it yourself. For a senior, they want you to talk to a business person or to what's the name? Doesn't matter. Any person in the organization that wants something from the system, and he doesn't have anything ready made, and you have to interview him and get the actual requirements. You actually need to extract the requirements from the person to be able to move it further down the chain. So the getting the requirements is a big skill. But understanding that the requirements you get is not the full requirements is something you need to understand early on. That the story you get is never the full story, and you usually need more details. Just asking for more details will get you ahead a lot. And then when you start getting them and you try to solve them and you're stuck or unsure, talking and saying like, this is what I'm thinking about. We've talked about this thing, now I'm thinking about this thing, now I'm going to do that thing. That also gets you ahead in interviews because it shows, first of all, it's show your work. You know how in studies, I don't know, you do a math problem. If you only give the 53 is the answer, you might get half the score. If you were correct, if you put 3 and this is not the answer, you get 0. But if you put 3 but you showed, oh, I did all of these steps, you might get a 70 just on your path to the solution. So the same in an interview, once you're trying to work out the problem, doesn't matter if it's code or diagrams or whatever, say, okay, we've discussed this was the requirement, I'm thinking about this, and this is what I'm going to do with this, and I'm thinking this should exist, or I should be thinking of this, but I have no idea what this is. I don't have the solution. I just have the process. Thanks for giving me you're like the first senior I've asked for tips now. Everyone got different answers. Okay. Yeah, everyone has different life experiences. And everyone tried to interview from different companies and maybe have been on the other side for different companies. And a different tip I'll tell you, if you have multiple jobs that you're considering, or if you're considering if you're going to take a job or not, I'd say the most important things is the hiring manager, if you gel with them or not. If you feel like, oh, this person and me are talking about the same level, we enjoy the same things, we communicate well, we talk about the same things, and it's fun, take the job. If you're like, oh, the job is really good, it's a good company, it's a good pay, but this person is like a wall. What I said, what he said, it's two unrelated people, and like I don't know what's going on, or he's been a poker face or something. Don't take the job. Just don't take it. That's my tip. Don't take the job. Take jobs with hiring managers, the person that's above you, the hiring manager, the person that's your manager, You have to gel with him. If not, don't go there. You'll be miserable. It will start okay, and after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you're gonna be miserable. Just look at that when you're choosing a job. That's my tip. That's my personal tip. I tell that to anyone that asks, but and I'm the one that usually was chasing money, okay? I'd say 2 jobs or whatever. Who pays $10 more on yours? Doesn't matter. Just give me the higher pay. I didn't care. I'll put any hat. That's why I had a lot of hats in the career. I mean, I'm summarizing as DevOps instead of giving you like 6, 7 different names of titles. Why not take it and search for another job in the meantime? I mean, if you have no job, you can do it. But also, if the job is bad, interviewing for searching another could be hard because you're exhausted and you're in a bad mood. And if you're in a bad mood, trying to interview it doesn't go well usually. So in the interview, it's almost like a date. They can smell you, like they can smell your feelings. Like if you're frustrated, if you're annoyed, if you're anything like this would come out and they won't want to work with you. The thing when they're hiring is like there's the technical part, but there's the part where they're thinking, do I want to work with this person? If you're like stressed out and sweating and well, it could be identifiable, but like if you seem like someone who's easily annoyed or something that they feel like this is I don't want to be with him every day now for the next 3 years, they reject you. Okay? Doesn't matter how good you are. You can be the best programmer. 9 out of 10, you'll be rejected if people are like, I don't want to be with this guy every day for the next 3 years. That's the question. The technical people, the people in your team, are asking themselves. The coworkers interviewing you and asking you the technical questions, they're asking themselves, do I want to be with that person every day for the next several years? So you should do anything you can to be in a good mood during interviews. Be nice to people. Depending on the culture of the place, some people like a bit more aggression, some people like more laid back. Middle Eastern is a bit more aggressive. Australia is very laid back. If you come and be very active, they'll reject you. That changes a lot. That depends on the culture of the place. You have to match like expectations. That's why sometimes it can help. Some people go to meetups and such to learn about new opportunities and you talk to different people. But the fact that you're talking about with them, you also get like personality and social hints and that kind of culture vibe stuff. And you might actually interview with the same people or just in the same company. And usually the vibe is kind of similar across companies. Sometimes it changes a lot between departments on where we wrong between teams. But a lot of times, if you're in the general vibe similar to others, in the company would be kind of similar. So if they're very competitive, you'll feel it. If they're very laid back, you'll feel it. I've been even in the same country, let's say more government jobs or bigger companies are one way and smaller startups are another way. I've interviewed once for a bank and this was almost cemetery vibes. I was like, people talk so slowly, they move so slowly, they don't care about the time. And they're like, I don't know. And I've been to startups, and startups are like go, go, go a lot of times. But startups change a lot. In startups, you really feel like the CEO models the people around him, basically. Because if you have like talking about 5 to 30 people, the vibes changes a lot between the startups and very much depends on the C-level people. On bigger companies, it starts being more, kind of move to the middle in a lot of companies. A lot of companies might be similar on the larger sizes. Um, Yeah, but sometimes if you don't have a choice, you get what you get. Um, it's a numbers game. Don't apply just to the five you think are perfect, unless you're willing to go above and beyond and not just go through the interview process. Don't not just go through CV submissions. But if you really want particular ones, you have to network there. You have to try to talk to people that are already in the company, not just submit a resume. It's a different path. But if you're just submitting resumes, you need a lot. Some of the jobs are kind of fake. Some of them would filter you out on the weirdest things that you don't care. I've seen people go through resumes. Oh, it's a female. Oh, it's this school. Oh, that family name. No. Oh, that thing. Like, if you have a stack of 1,000 resumes, you need to filter out 900. You pick the lamest excuses. So it's a numbers game if you're just a CV. If you're actually chasing specific jobs, you need to do a lot of work to get those. It's funny. I've been in one company that a new person started, but they only came to say that they took another job with AWS, and AWS is their dream job. I should use my middle name. It's ultra old school Swedish. Maybe could be. I don't know, Eric. Um, Different people will do different things. A different person looking at CVs might love one school over another, and another person would be the other way. They could be on the names, on the age. I've seen people, things that shouldn't be okay, like that person. Oh, she's a female, and it's that age, and she's gonna have kids soon, so she's not gonna stay around. I don't know. I've seen those things. Um, Most countries, this is not allowed, but most times you would never know what's the reason. Most times you don't get good feedback from the interviews. If you can, you try. Getting feedback on interviews is really valuable, and it's pretty rare. And it's pretty rare that they can say a lot, because for the companies or someone in the company to say anything, there's almost no benefit for them, and only bad possibilities. There's a possibility you sue them for saying the wrong thing, like for refusing you for a bad reason. But they almost get nothing if they do it well. So you don't get a lot of feedback for interviews. You usually need feedback from interviews from other people. If I get rejected, I'm gonna ask what I was missing. You can ask, and it changes probably between countries, but most most would not give you, either would give you nothing, or they would give you something very generic. The ones that do give you something specific, take that very seriously, as like, this is really good feedback. Sometimes a no can become a yes in the future. Um, Maybe the I think there's only one case where I recovered a no to maybe let's do another step. Usually that situation is weird. So if you have like hiring managers in the middle, the hiring managers actually want you to get accepted. The hiring managers, both internal and external, their benefits is only if you get hired. Like their positive outcome is if you get hired. They don't want just interviews. They don't want to keep the same position again and again to continue to work on it. So they are the ones to actually give you tips and stuff. Trying to think for a second. So I've had external HR headhunters, whatever, that were really nice, that would actually try to do like a mini interview with you ahead of time, just to get what you're about, get your communication, get your storytelling, and they would give you feedback that you need to tell it differently and stuff. That's sometimes nice, although a lot of times these third parties are considered like a lesser option. When they are good, they contribute to the process. They contribute by educating you. Most of them don't. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. But if you hear about a few that are good, a few good company that are external recruiters, talk to them. Even if just to talk to them, they would teach you a bit, which is positive. But generally, all recruiters, the best thing you can do with a recruiter is ask him what he knows about the hiring manager. What does he think the hiring manager is like? What's his personality? What he's looking for? And they would not give you anything technical. They would give you like personality thing. Oh, this guy likes it straight and direct. This guy has a bit of a quirk. He doesn't like this thing. I've sent 3 people to him and he rejected them all on this thing. So they have insights, not always, depending how long they're working with this hiring manager. Like if they sent him already, multiple applicants before and got feedback or a thing like that. Otherwise, they'll give you generics. But if they got something, it's usually valuable. If they're just chatting, okay, what can you do? But they can. You should ask recruiting managers, even if they interviewed you, like at the end of the interview. By the way, interviews generally ask them questions is considered you're interested. If you're just like getting interviewed, answering all questions, and then shut up and bye, it's not so good. That's what most people do, but it's not a deal breaker, but it's you're not like a top candidate that's interested. If you start asking them about the company, blah blah blah, it doesn't even matter what you ask. It's just being engaged. I hear about people searching for 100, 200 jobs and getting 5 interviews in total. Yeah, the numbers are bad. I know. It could be frustrating. The newly devs. It's not only new devs. It's not only new devs. It depends also on the timing of the job market. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse. Um, what? Let's say the best times, farm 100, I'd get maybe 8 to talk back to me, and maybe have 5 interviews and maybe one or 2 offers. At bad times, 300 to 500 resumes. You might get 3 callbacks. You might get 1 to 2 interviews. And that's talking even about an experienced dev. Juniors usually have the worst times. You actually saying 5 interviews for 100 to 200 applications? That sounds good to me. I've heard about people like as internships and first job, just getting 1 interview out of 300 to 500 to even 1,000 jobs, but a serious interview at that. I guess I'm gonna combine LinkedIn connections and actual jobs posting on different sources. Yeah. Um, it depends a bit about the country. I don't know how's your country, but I think most of them, the LinkedIn LinkedIn jobs, just the section jobs in LinkedIn, not connections. That usually does well better than the websites because usually they kind of skip a stage when they publish a job. Well, again, I don't know if it's the same in each country. I think that's at least true in 2 or 3 countries that I know. Um, Most of the ads are by third-party recruiters on ad sites. And most of the posts in LinkedIn are actually by companies' internal recruiters. It's a big difference. It's like 10 to 1 difference could be. Because depending on the place, there's a lot of bullshit posts. So the third-party recruiters post jobs when they post jobs when they don't have a job to send you to. They're posting jobs to collect applicants for themselves. So for the moment a client will have a job, they can send you. I seen on LinkedIn job posts, 100 plus people applied. Don't worry about these numbers. Forget how many people applied. Don't even look at that number. You shouldn't care. You shouldn't care how many people applied. It's not beneficial for you. It could be a difference if you see one has like 30 and one has 1,000. But even if there's 1,000 from the other side, a lot of these applications are spam. Like you get people that apply to 3,000 jobs a month for a week. And you get people applying for jobs totally unrelated to their fields. Sometimes the government makes it almost mandatory because to get unemployment benefits in many countries, you have to show that you're searching for jobs. And to show you're searching for jobs, you just apply. And this is part of the resume spam. And they would even apply to unrelated jobs. So you're a chef and you apply for a tech job. Okay? It's just application spam. There's a lot of it. So don't worry so much about how many other people applied. Worry that your resume is good. Have people review your resume. Both generically that it's worded well and locally that it fits the local culture. Because the job applications would differ between US, Australia, EU. They expect things a bit differently. So make sure it fits the actual environment and it's good. No, no spelling mistake, grammar mistake. Make it easy to read. Make it interesting to read. Make it the thing you want is to be unskippable in a way. It's like you got 100 web pages. You flip through web pages. You want them to stop at yours. You can break the pattern. You can put color where there's no color normally. You can change something that's not normal just for people to notice. Okay? Don't necessarily use the template and be normal, but also have something that sticks. I examined soon enough. I think instead of risking getting unemployment benefits, I'm going to join another 2.5 year web dev. If there are like tech meetups around your area, go to them. Both to they're interested in their own. They probably have free food and drink, which is nice. They're people that should be your co-workers. You should have a good time talking to people. You should try to talk to people. You should talk to them what are they doing, what is the company doing, and if they're hiring. Look for a job at the same time. If I get a job, I drop out. Sure, I don't know. That's kind of your systems about how unemployment is working versus how studying is working. I'm guessing from your plan that studying is probably government subsidized and is attractive, and not that you're just spending money. Go to meetups, and if you want another advantage, is try to contribute to open source to be able to put that in your resume and talk about it later. Studying, I get more money. Yeah. use it. There's nothing there's nothing inherently bad about it as long as you make it productive. It's your choice. People can study and gain nothing, and they can study and gain a lot. Uh, it's on you. Yeah. Start going to meetups and see if you can contribute to open source or something. Those are huge advantages in getting a job. And start looking at LinkedIn jobs and how to do a proper CV and how to interview. Make the CV interesting and professional. Okay. Um, yeah, it's been a good time. It's longer than my normal stream. Also, I don't know if they teach, but like, you should look into vibe coding, right? That's like starting to be normal. Government benefits money is not survivable. I'm just saying that at least we have an okay income while searching for a job. Yeah, sure, I understand. Like, I don't know what the payment studying, etc. How is it like in your place? I understand. Like, I've heard about people doing stuff like that. It's fine. I got nothing bad to say about it. I think it sounds positive. Uh, just the only negative is like just thinking about people becoming like keep studying. I don't know. I mean, it's good all around. It's good studying as long as you're actually studying, you actually benefit from it, not just from the income, but the actual education. You better yourself. Even if you can in parallel study something that's not. I think sometimes it's interesting that only few people do it, but let's say study web dev and study psychology, or study web dev and study business. Study like have two different things that you're educated in. Not necessarily because you could jump between, but more because it cross pollinates your mind and you find uses for it later on. Although it doesn't seem productive at the start. I think later on it creates the most interesting things. I don't know. Maybe I'm romanticizing something, but you mentioned vibe coding is normal now. Yes, AI was even a tool that was needed to be used at school. Oh, wow, nice. That means you have like a good education system that keeps up to date because a lot of times all of these education systems, all the courses, they lag from reality and they are a bit outdated. When I studied things that people were not using anymore at the start, at least. Like I studied Pascal. No one studied Pascal. Studied a system called Magic. Stupid name because it's meaningless. You have no idea what it is, but it's was almost what's comparable today. People kind of there's a trend of creating the fourth generation programming languages, which are like visual creators. They probably disappear now with AI finally. So they come on the market and they go, where basically you have a generator that also has some programming options to it. AI would probably replace that. And I've studied things that were not relevant even when I studied them. What I'm going is called higher education. Yeah, it's more of a practical course with 6 months internship. It's a program that's been formed for the Swedish market. Practical program. Yeah, it sounds good. I think my voice is starting to retire for the day. Um, yeah, I want to do longer streams. My streams are commonly 2 hours now. I'm 3.5 hours in, which I'm happy with. But yeah, I want to be the people that do the 6 to 8 hours daily streams. I feel like I'll need to build to it. It's not just theory like university. Yeah, yeah. Usually, yeah, I get the different systems. Universities is weird. Oh, thanks for the follow, nerd. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just getting a bit tired. Wolf, my voice, and I'm just thinking I should come back to this, but my mind is not there at the moment, and I know there's food waiting for me. So I think I'm actually gonna end the stream. Gonna was nice talking to you, Aaron. Hopefully, see you next time. And yeah, I'll probably be on tomorrow. Hopefully earlier. I always say that I'm never too early. No worries, man. End the stream and take it up. Yeah, thank you. So it's 9:30 p.m. here. Shalom. Bye. Cheers, mate. Um, yeah, I'll finish the stream here. Tomorrow we'll come back, hopefully, to continue this meme. And I really wanted to show this on stream, so I've started. I don't know if the stream did have audio. I'll review the stream. Maybe I'll try to restart the describing the story before letting the AI develop it. And it's actually boring a lot of time that the development runs, and then I test and review. And I think we have like 2 or 3 big stories before I can actually make it production and demo it in production, or demo at least the full flow. And uh, and once we have that, I'll be happy to do way more streaming that I can actually show the system and work the system and use the system on my streams and start letting other people test it. Before I tested the system on other people's streams. Also have lots of plans for that. But yeah, till next stream. Thank you for watching.